We welcome you into the 10th episode of Talking Blizz with Joey Bonadonna, and this week we welcome in defensive back number 24, Shawn Steele. Shawn, welcome to the show.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You guys are coming off of a win this week by way of 43-17 win over the Iowa Barnstormers. Obviously a great defensive performance. Coming off that win, how do you guys feel?
We really feel good as far as on defensive side of the ball. We're kind of slowly figuring things out, and I feel like we put everything together this past game against Iowa, and we just got to keep stacking these games, keep stacking days, and just finish, man. That's probably the biggest thing we got to do on defense, just finish.
And the one thing to kind of note is, and I think we'll get to that further on, but I think you mentioned it, the defense has it started to figure things out, especially with this past win over Iowa. You had 2 picks in that game as well, but kind of it's been a process trying to get back to where this defense has been in the past couple of years. There's been some veteran presence in this secondary, guys that have returned, you and Trey Claiborne. But overall, how do you feel like this defense has progressed throughout the year?
So we started off pretty slow, but we're slowly starting to trust each other and just starting to believe in each other and just starting to be one as a whole. You know what I'm saying? We're slowly figuring it out. As I keep saying, we're putting it together, and I love it. I love to see the direction we're going. It's looking beautiful.
And now diving into a little bit of your story, growing up in Dallas area, what was your introduction to football? What sports you play growing up? Were you just a football guy? Were you a multi-sport? And how did you get introduced to the game?
So I just want to shout out to my step pops and my step brothers. They came in my life. Just being athletes, and I feel like my pops just kind of threw me in the fire. I started playing football at almost 3 years old, literally 3 years old. But I was a multi-sport athlete. Started with football, basketball, and I tried baseball, but I got hit in the thigh with a fastball, so I kind of left that alone. I tried track, wasn't pretty fast, but I tried to stay with it just to work on technique and try to getting faster and stuff. But overall, it's just been basketball and football for the most part.
And your recruiting process coming out of being in Arlington, you played at Arkansas Pine Bluff, where you put together a solid 3 or 4 year career there. What did you take away from playing at APB, and overall, how did that progress you into where you are now?
I feel like it molded me into a solid young man. Coming from an HBCU, we don't have many resources and such things, but it's really just the brotherhood and the bond I had at that university that kind of they took me in and molded me, you know what I'm saying? But it was a good 4 years. I loved it at UAPB, man. But I ended up transferring after my 4th year there and ended up at South Alabama. But UAPB was a great school, man. I loved it there. Loved the football program. We started terrible, ended up working our way up as the years went by, But yeah, man, I just want to shout out to my coaches there. You know what I'm saying? They taught me real football, real concepts, you know what I'm saying, real technique, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to give thanks to those guys, man. They made me a good ball player.
And talking about HBCU football and where it's kind of grown in the last few years, you can talk about what Deion Sanders has done at Jackson State, and among other programs, I feel like we've seen a lot of guys from HBCU schools start to grow up in the professional ranks. I feel like we see a lot of HBCU players come through here in Green Bay. What is it like to see the growth of that? Obviously, there's a rich history with HBCU football, but what do you like to see about the growth of that area of football?
So the biggest thing with me is I just love the recognition that the HBCU players are getting now. You know what I'm saying? Deion played a huge part in it. You know what I'm saying? Bringing the spotlight over. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, a lot of those guys are getting drafted now, getting shots in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? That was never the case when I was there. Well, I wouldn't say never, but you know what I'm saying? It was a slim chance of that happening. But man, I love to see it, man. I'm an HBCU alumni, so I love it.
And coming out of college, you mentioned you played at South Alabama as well. You come into Green Bay last season. You're kind of a mid-season acquisition. But making that transition from the outdoor to the indoor game, especially jumping in the middle of the season, what was that transition like for you in that first season last year?
When I got here, it was pretty, like, the game speed was kind of different, you know what I'm saying? Of course, the walls is, you know what I'm saying, that plays a big part too. But just the physicality part is the main part of it. You know what I'm saying? I came in and kind of tweaked my shoulder like the third game. I had to sit out a game, so that kind of made me a little tougher in that area. But overall, it was a good transition. I love it now.
And you got an opportunity to come back for a second season. And coming in here in 2023, as we mentioned before, you and Trey have kind of been the veteran leaders, the returners from last year, and guys that have been in the indoor game. Specifically between you and Trey, how do you think having that experience from last year has helped to try and build this defense along, as there have been some rookies coming in and making that transition to the indoor game, as we just mentioned?
Trey, actually, he plays a big role in the defense, man. That's my guy. But it starts with, like, leadership, you know what I'm saying, and trusting each other, you know what I'm saying. We just try to get not the young guys, but the rookies kind of on the same page, just kind of molding them in, just putting them on game and trying to, like, teach them little small ways to, like, finesse things and stuff like that. But overall, me and Trey, we kind of not vets, but kind of vets. So we kind of know what's going on for real, and we try to put the other guys, you know what I'm saying, on game or whatever. But overall, you know what I'm saying, Trey is a great player. I love playing with him. He brings that aggressiveness to the defense. And yeah, he's doing great. He's one of the leaders on defense, and I'm just kind of like following his footsteps a little bit. I'm not a vocal leader, you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, I lead on the field as far as my play. So yeah, man, two vets, man, I love it.
And to bring up this past week again, 2 red zone interceptions for you against Iowa, and obviously that Iowa offense had some changes. They brought in a new quarterback during that game, but being able to get those turnovers has really been something that this defense has struggled with this season. I think a few weeks ago I kind of made a joke that there was a point where there were 3 interceptions, and 2 of them were from Shaq Carrington and Raheem Harvey, receivers. But you were able to get 2 of them this week. How big is that, being able to start to force turnovers? And if you can get that at a time like this, as you're trying to go on a playoff push, how quickly does that change the game for you guys?
Man, it changes it dramatically. But like I said, it just goes back to, you know what I'm saying, us putting it together, us trusting each other and playing as one. You know what I'm saying? I trusted my brothers to be in that position that they were in, you know what I'm saying? So I did my part. I seen the ball, I just made a play, you know what I'm saying? But overall, man, those turnovers really help us, like, big time, you know what I'm saying? Because offense struggled a little bit that game, so they kind of needed us. So we kind of made up for that.
And you're coming into this game against the Quad City Steamwheelers this week, and you guys just played them a few weeks ago as well on the road. And that one, it came down to a one-possession game at the end. I believe the final score was 63-56. But you guys know that you guys will have a matchup with E.J. Hilliard and Kevon Rudd, the quarterback wide receiver combo that they have, plus every other weapon they have over there on offense. What do you like about this matchup this week, and trying to get that all-important win here in the Eastern Conference, trying to snag one away from them in this 3-game series?
Yeah, so this game is real big to us. It's a must-win for us. As far as matchup-wise, I mean, it's a pretty even matchup, I would say. You know what I'm saying? They kind of got the best of us last time. But I would say we played very, very sloppy and terrible last game and only lost by 7. So I feel like we'll pull it off if we stick to the game plan and play as one, man, and just play all 3 phases of the game. You know what I'm saying? Offense, defense, special teams is really big for us this week. So definitely got to get this win.
And the main difference is that you get a chance to play at home in front of the Resch Center crowd. Last home game of the season here in 2023. It's crazy that that's already the case here. But this home crowd has really been a home field advantage for you guys this year. A lot of close games and great atmospheres over the last, the season so far. But being able to get this crowd at home, being able to get the defense or the crowd behind you on defense as opposed to the other way around, what have you enjoyed about this Green Bay crowd, this Green Bay community, and this fan base, and how they've supported this team this season?
Man, they've shown nothing but love, man. It's honestly like the kids that get me, man. I love kids, you know. I got a bunch of nieces and nephews, so it's seeing those kids' faces whenever we make a play, seeing the crowd just go crazy, you know what I'm saying, on big hits and big plays, man. It's just, I don't know, I love Green Bay, man. Just the crowd is amazing. I love it.
And then, of course, you guys will have to hit the road after this one, and kind of just it's obviously a different situation having to play that many games on the road to end the season. Obviously, I know Coach Roberson's mantra is 1 week at a time, but after that, you have the bye and then 4 games on the road to end the season. How do you guys maintain your 1 week at a time mentality when you guys are on the road and having those conditions that you're playing in?
Basically, like you're saying, just take it 1 week at a time, just focus on that opponent, focus on what we have to do, focus on our assignment, alignment, and just executing, you know what I'm saying? And the biggest part about traveling is just staying hydrated, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it.
And then final question that I want to ask, it's a question I always ask. What's one thing about Shawn Steele that Blizzard Nation might not know? It could be a fun fact, a hobby you have, favorite something, just one thing that you would want Blizzard Nation to know.
Ooh, let me think on that one, man. I was in the choir. I like to sing. I was in the choir. Yeah, I was kind of forced to be in the choir as a youngin. You know what I'm saying? I was raised in the church family. You know, so Granny made all my siblings. You know what I'm saying? Sing in the choir. So yeah, I was in the choir.
Well, there you go. We got a little pipes from Shawn Steele here growing up. But really want to thank Shawn for your time, for sitting down with us today, getting a chance to talk about your story. And again, Blizzard this week, Military Appreciation Night at the Resch Center, last home game of the 2023 season against the Quad City Steamrollers. Shawn, any last words for us before we sign off here?
Man, go Blizz, man. Pack the stadium out this Friday, man. I love to see a pack house, man. Go Blizz.
Absolutely. And again, this will wrap things up. Again, 7:05 kickoff. Green Bay Blizzard facing the Quad City Steamrollers at the Resch Center, a 7:05 kickoff. And again, want to thank Shawn for his time today, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Talking Blizz. We'll see you next time, and as always, go Blizz.